Hello, welcome everyone to the Lund University International Podcast. My name is Kristen Clarberg, and I'm working with the Arrival and Orientation Weeks here at External Relations. And with us today, we have two other guests. You can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, so my name is Victor. I am the International Mentor Coordinator here at also the External Relations Department. And I'm also a student, actually, so this is a part-time job for me. I'm studying politics and economics.
Mm-hmm. Hello everyone. My name is Prilliani, Madina. I'm from Indonesia and currently pursuing master degree in food technology and nutrition. And I'm also part of mentor for this autumn intake. So yeah.
Thank you both for joining us today. So I thought really quickly, I'll just present a little bit about what we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to focus on Arrival Day and the Orientation Weeks, which is part of the introduction for Lund University students, for the international students who are coming here. Arrival Day, we usually have one day at the beginning of the semester. It's either 1 week before the semester in spring or 2 weeks before the semester in autumn. And we start by trying to help students settle in that first day, get them from the airport or the train station to get their keys and get some helpful information and a welcome bag, and then get to their housing right away. We also have then a week or two of orientation program in which we have helpful seminars to focus both on the academic aspects and to make sure students are focused on that part, as well as social aspects and cultural aspects that are important to know before starting your time in Sweden. But if we go now back to our guests, Prilliani, what did you think about Arrival Day yourself when you joined as a student? Were you part of that?
If you are talking about the first time I came here, it means last year. I have to say it's really well prepared from Lund University to organize the Arrival Day in 2021. So it's really helpful for me, especially kind of international student who come here. It's my first time to come to Europe. So especially during pandemic as well. So they really inform us like how we have to prepare, what will happen in the airport, and then who will take care of us until arrive in our housing. It's really helpful. And then when we are talking about kind of my experience to be mentor, well, it's my first time to join to be mentor. So yeah, it's really fun because I met a lot of new students around the world, and then also make a good friendship with new students. And yeah, we have a lot of social activities in our group mentors. Yeah, maybe something like that. It's really fun. So
yeah,
you especially, Victor, maybe as the coordinator.
Yeah, I think the Arrival Days or the Arrival Day is very interesting because it's such a massive day. Like you said, it's good you found it well prepared, because we spent a lot of time preparing it, and now that the one for the autumn is completed, right on to the one for spring. So this semester we had almost 1,500 students coming.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people who we meet up at the airport and then help bring to Lund. As you know, there's no airport in Lund, so you need to fly to usually Copenhagen and then take the train from Copenhagen. So that's an entire logistics operation basically to get students here to Lund. And then while here, like you said, we get some useful information, and you have the opportunity to get your keys usually if you have a new accommodation and so on. So it's a day which is it's very hectic because there's a lot of students, but it's usually well prepared, and it's helped a lot by your mentors, since you all do it on a voluntary basis.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, your reward, I guess, is the friendship of new incoming students. So also as the coordinator, it's very interesting to be in the spider in the web, so to speak, to make sure everything works together. I'm mainly responsible for the role of the mentors during this day. So that's always very interesting to keep everything running, so to speak. But usually you all do an excellent job, so there's not too much to worry about from my side.
It's a lot of student volunteers. It's amazing how many people enjoy and get involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so fantastic every single semester to see people who also enjoy meeting new people and welcoming them, and especially when we have a lot of students who have been on exchange themselves and then they want to come back and they want to give back to the new students coming in, or if they're international students themselves, that they want to like help to let the other students get a good start and meet a friendly face. Because if you're tired after a long flight, then a friendly face, I think, can do a lot. And it's a huge job that Victor has to make sure that people are in the places they need to be at the times they need to be there. It's not easy.
No. But it's well appreciated, I would say, since it's quite common. Like for you come in as an international student, and then you become a mentor yourself to help other international students.
Yeah, it's true. And then I think all of you, I mean, from the university, are really well prepared during summer, so you have a lot of things to do.
Yeah, it's a short summer. We're here usually very early, but and Christmas as well. It's a lot of work. Yeah, but I still love the day. I still love getting meeting the people, and everyone gets involved, and we have a lot of colleagues as well in the building, and they also think it's really fun to get involved, and they also like to, especially if we have students who are working with, like, for example, recruitment, then sometimes they get to meet the students they've been talking to for months before they arrive. And for the exchange coordinators as well, if they have exchange students they've been talking to, and then they meet them on arrival day. And I think it's both for the student and for the staff that it's a bit fun to have the face connection.
And so for the mentors, I mean, we need a lot of mentors, of course, because first we have the mentors meeting up at the airport, then we have the mentors meeting up at the train station in Lund, then we have the mentors driving the minivans, or if we have buses, it depends, to and from where we host the arrival day. And then, of course, at the location of the arrival day, which depends year to year, but this time we were in the AF building in the middle of Lund. There we need a lot of mentors again to help at the different stations. And you were in the luggage room last time.
I'm taking part in the luggage room. So, it's a really interesting part for me because, I mean, we have to greet all of the students and then help them to organize their luggages. And then sometimes when in the crowded moment, it's really, really crowded and hectic. Like, we don't know how to organize the luggage in that room. But then when everything is really quiet and then they're already going up to the second floor for kind of the registration and also get more information about the, kind of the education system, something like that for everything. So it's quite in the luggage room, so we can handle it, and then we feel more free and happy when we can release the luggage to the owner. So it's really fun in the end. And like you said, it takes a lot of volunteer mentor. In the beginning, I mean, when we have the pre-meeting for the mentors, I thought like it's already huge amount of mentors, but maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we started the mentor and arrival day, Victor sent email to everyone like, if you have another friend who wants to be mentor, we need extra volunteer in here. Wow, I think like it's already huge enough, but we never know, like we need more.
There can never be too many mentors.
No, I think it's around 70 mentors that are active usually. It's quite a lot of students, and then it can vary. Some years we can't get 70, or some years we have too many. But usually that's kind of the minimum we need to make this work.
Yeah, I think we had it was in total. I think during both arrival day and orientation weeks, it was more than 100.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot of engagement, and it's needed too. Like you said, at the arrival day, they come in waves, right? It's like when you get a train full of people, then you get like the hectic times, and then you can organize it. And of course, it's you leave your luggage, and then we have all the different stations, and there we need also different mentors, of course, who know different things. Like we have the check-in, it might not be too difficult, but then we have the help desk that requires a bit more of knowledge about how the IT system works. And then we have the goodie bags, of course. And I think a great amount of mentors is needed specifically for just driving people to their accommodation and back. And I know I had to jump in to drive, you had to jump in to drive, Kristen. So that's always one of the most, I would say, most hectic and interesting parts, because it really gets you feeling like you're in the action when you get to drive a minivan full of students and these heavy bags.
Yeah.
But I could see why we need a lot of bags if you're going to study somewhere for at least 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of the driving can be very intense too for the students who are doing that. And luckily we usually get really good students who are volunteering to help us with that. And then they have a host next to them, and in case there's some communication issues or like making sure that the directions are clear, and also just being support for them for the day, because it's it's a long day to sit and drive around back and forth all day. And Lund is really difficult to drive in as well. There's a lot of one-way streets.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but
it's not made for cars, or it was made for cars once, but then it was converted into bicycle town.
Yeah.
So yes, it's horrendous driving.
It is difficult.
But usually, and this year we managed perfectly. No, nothing basically.
No dings, nothing. Not a single accident.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Just maybe a little bit troubles during arrival days is because the train.
Yeah.
Something stuck, and then you have to wait for several students until in the afternoon, and then we have quiet time in the middle of the day, and then in the afternoon there come a lot. There's something.
Yeah, that was difficult. It's always hard to know as well what can go wrong on arrival day, because as much as we plan, we don't plan for a train issue.
No.
Because the train is always working so well in Sweden, and then this year it didn't. And but I think everyone did a really good job of making sure that we could get the flow as good as possible on that day anyway. And it's a long fun day. I think we do a lot of good stuff, and all the staff as well who are involved. We have AEF Bostader was there, and we have people from the Skånetrafiken who are working with the public transportation, and they're helping inform about public transportation and the app and how to use that. And we also have, of course, like you said, Victor, the LU accommodation, living keys. And Bopoolen is for if someone haven't found housing, they can go and talk to them and try and find a way to get housing fixed within the first. Yeah.
It's usually a second-hand rate, Bopoolen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of private people who will rent out a room, and then put an advertisement on Bopoolen, and then the students can also put an advertisement saying, I'm a student, I want to have a room like this and there and there. But we also have housing in Malmö, and we have housing in Helsingborg, and apparently Helsingborg is really a lot easier to find. It's a 40-minute bus ride, train ride, but it's I think most students get housing within a month there, and it's a bit quicker because it's not as much pressure as in the city. And Malmö, I think it's a big city. It's the third biggest city in Sweden, so they can also find housing there as well.
But then I really appreciate the idea for facilitate the transportation for the student from the AF Bergen or registration site to their housing, because it's really helpful. Like for me in the beginning, when I arrived here, I don't know where is my housing located. So it's really helpful and useful for new students.
And LU accommodation, actually, they had some hosts at the different housing areas. So if it was a really confusing housing area, sometimes they had a host available to come and meet the student and take them to their room and show them how some things worked. So they're working really hard to make sure the students can find their way the first night.
Yeah, and that's great, because Lund is kind of confusing, right? Because it's like the entire city is the campus.
Yeah.
Like there's not like there's one area which is like the housing area. No, like there's housing spread out everywhere.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't know when you end up in student housing and when where's what. But of course, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it can be very confusing. So I think that's very good that you had that impression that it's helpful.
Yeah, it's a good start to the week, and then hopefully they get a lot of information through the orientation weeks.
Yeah.
Are you working some events during the orientation weeks too?
Yeah. I'm joining. Is it restaurant part of the orientation week?
The restaurant is part of the orientation week, yes.
Okay. Then I joined with my group mentor. So help the mentee in our group to do the treasure hunt activities. So basically, it's such a games. We have a many sport, I guess. Yeah, something like that. So we do some activities in there, maybe games or answer the question, something like that. So basically we walking around Lund city. So it is a good idea to know more about Lund, but in a fun game, in a fun way. And then, in the end, we have to wait because during this treasure hunt, we will get a point, and then in the end, like the international office will announce who is the winner, and then we get some prize. Okay. And then in the beginning, like we have a Zoom meeting, like what we are going to do today, and Victor will organize this one by Zoom meeting, and then we starting maybe around until in the afternoon, and then we gather in the Lund is one of the spot in Lund University in Lund. So we gather in there waiting for the announcement, and one of the craziest games, not craziest, I have to say, like we have to collect our things and then make it to be longest, how to say it?
Like the longest line.
Yeah, longest line. Yeah. And then I don't know the idea is it, but one of my mentee in our groups said like because his name, the first letter is F, and then he said like, okay, then we can find out the fence, and then they use the fence, which is really really long, and then we got the longest line in there. So it's some of kind of the crazy, but it's funny things for me.
And that was at one of the nations that had made that game.
Yeah. There's.
It was UPF.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to UPF. No, I'm not biased at all. No, but it's good because we organize the treasure hunt. It's organized for the mentor groups, but it's in collaboration with the student unions and student organizations. So that's very good because then, of course, you get to see, like you said, you get to walk around in the city, so you get some like orientation. But also you get to spend time with your mentor group and complete these challenges, and you get to meet different nations and student organizations. So it's a very important and helpful day, I would say, if you are a new student at the university, because you get everything in one. I was about to say one bag, one day. It's a metaphorical bag. So that's a very good day to learn about the university. So I mean, we in the autumn semester we always we organize two mentor group activities. So the treasure hunt is one, where the purpose is of course meeting the nations and walking around in Lund, and the other one is the sports and games day. Did you join sports and games day?
No, unfortunately I couldn't join that time.
No.
It was so hot.
It was super hot. It was the first time we organized it since COVID.
Yeah.
And it was, usually in Sweden it's not that cold, but you could expect it when the autumn is starting to come that it's not going to be, at least not that kind of heat.
Oh,
so this was very surprising this year.
We were not expecting that kind of heat, no, because it doesn't happen very often.
No.
But there was water and stuff, but it was still crazy hot, and everyone was very exhausted by the end of it. But it was fun as well. There's a lot of action and different sports
and games. The purpose of the day is not like specifically sports, but purpose is for the mentor groups to do activities a bit more like actively, and also to be able to compete versus other mentor groups.
It was really funny because I was one of the stations for this, and mine was not a physical activity because I didn't want to do that. Because I don't want to run around and do crazy things. So I had a team building game, and then it's just to kind of stand there and to discuss. You have to discuss with your group, and then it's really confusing because everyone gets directions, and they say, I don't understand what you're talking about. I said, just talk to each other. You'll figure it out. And they always did. They always figured it out, and it was always good. But you could see them just kind of, we're not going to run around. And then they kind of look at each other like, okay, whose turn is it now to do something different? Because you had the people who were like really sporty and really wanted to like run as much as possible. And then you have other people in the group, maybe like myself, who doesn't want to go crazy and run around. And then it was more of an intellectual game. And it was really fun to see. But they always did it, and they always did it under the time, regardless of how they started out and looking as confused as they were. But it was really fun to see them communicate and get their team building going.
Yeah, I would say that day was a success too. It's also in collaboration with the nations, so and organizations, of course. So that's also very fun because we never know what they might organize. Like on Treasure Hunt and Sports and Games Day, they always come up with the funniest things that you could never have imagined.
Yeah.
So even for me as a coordinator, I'm also surprised. Like I wonder what's gonna happen. Of course, they tell me in advance.
So you only know on the day of the event.
I usually know in advance. I think this time there was like one or two which never informed me explicitly what they were gonna do. But I just trust them. I said, like, go for it, you know.
We haven't really had any problems. There was one year that we had, it's called soap football.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like on a plastic sheet with dish soap. And you run around and you try and play football or in the US soccer to on this very slippery plane. And funnily enough, there were no accidents really.
Oh.
But that's what I was expecting. I'm like, oh, someone's gonna break a leg. This doesn't sound great. But it was absolutely fine. And then we haven't had it again, unfortunately. But it looked like a lot of fun.
And I guess it's kind of hard to organize. I think this year we had we did cub race. I mean, cub is this like Swedish garden game, right? But usually you don't play as a race, you play against another team. But we organized it as a race, and I think that was really appreciated. And what more games? Oh yeah, we had this game which was in the middle of we were in a football field, and in the middle, in this big circle, they organized this game where you had to tie a balloon around your foot.
Oh, pop each other's balloons.
Yeah, to pop the other team's balloons. And I think that was also very popular.
Yeah.
And for treasure hunt, I think you mentioned this game where we're supposed to create the longest line. They are so crazy. Did you also do the one where you had to move an orange using, you had to be two people moving the orange, and you could only like transport it between like your hips or your shoulders, but you couldn't use your hands to move the orange. Like that was the entire thing, where people like between their heads like tried to move the orange.
Okay.
Wow. I saw some videos of that, and it always looks so funny, because if you don't know what's going on, you would think some people are crazy. But the nations, the nations are the student life of Lund, so of course they have basically an unlimited well of ideas for what to do.
Yeah, and from the treasure hunt as well, like you said, it's organized with many sector. Like from the student nation, from another organization as well. Like, and then we have to walk around Lund, so it's kind of the exercise for us. And then, for example, like we also have a spot in gymnasium. So we have kind of have to guess the weight of the product in the bag. We don't know how much is it, so we have to guess how much the weight, and then the closest one, so we get the kind of the grade or point. I'm sorry, we get highest point, something like that. And also we also have to answer the question that Victor already arranged in the treasure hunt. So for example, like kind of the historical things from the Lund Cathedral.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Something like this. Yeah, so it is also useful for new students to know like what is Lund in the whole thing, like the historical thing, the city, something like that. So yeah, it's nice.
And it's quite a I would say it's a city which is very grateful to walk in.
Yeah.
Like it allows you to walk in it and to walk through the entire city. Of course, maybe you don't have time to walk through the entire city and during this time because we don't have all day for it. Or we do have all day basically, but I think people would tire in the summer to walk around all day. But you could. That's a good thing about Lund too, that it's not this like massive metropolis. You could walk around the city in like an hour or two and see most things. So the treasure hunt, I think you can basically see most of what Lund has to offer in the center during this time.
Yeah, I was thinking about the cathedral as well. Like you said, it's kind of in the center of Lund. It's really a big thing, and we had a concert this year which we've had before, and then after COVID stopped all the activities. We had a welcome concert there. And they filled the entire cathedral with 900 people, which is amazing. And the people at the cathedral who work there are so happy to have students come and enjoy the cathedral. And they're really like welcoming, and they really enjoy having people enjoying the building. And then after that, we had a mingle at the university building, the main university building, which is where it's on all the pictures,
the white one.
So then we had a nice fika outside, and it was, and then they opened up there because there's this beautiful auditorium there as well, with like a painted ceiling, and you can have a lot of students have graduation ceremonies there. That's very common that the faculties or the different programs will arrange their graduation there. It's not always easy to see it otherwise, and so they opened that up as well because they wanted to let the students see that. And with the pro vice chancellor there and the mayor of Lund as well was there to welcome students, and they were really happy. It was really great.
Yeah, I think it was very funny when we had the welcome concert, and of course they had some traditional Swedish songs, but then it started playing the Pokemon song on the organ. Like I usually don't join I'm just responsible for making sure the mentors are where they are supposed to be. But I attended this one, and that was definitely a highlight, I would say.
And Super Mario a few years ago as well. I really like.
There's a lot. It has a lot to offer, I would say.
Yeah.
The orientation weeks.
Yeah, there is a lot to do. And so, unfortunately, the time has run out quite quickly. I think that's gone really, really well, and we all have a lot to say and a lot of experiences to share. But I was thinking, is there one more thing you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, for me, I really recommend for the current student in Lund University who wants to be mentor. So because it's really useful for you. For me, example, I get more network and new friends in here, and then I can build up a good friendship with them. For example, now outside the mentor group, I also join kind of the activities from the mentees, so I can drink dinner together with them, something like that. So it's really, really helpful for you. And then also maybe if you want to start, how to say it, like if you have more experience to know about Lund in general in the city, in the whole city, and then you feels like want to share everything together. Maybe you really like to biking, and then want to find out someone who have the same hobbies with you. Yeah, it can of the right place to find out the people, something like that. So beside from the social activities, you can develop yourself in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, strong +1 to that. If you're a current student, check out the mentor program. And also, of course, if you're interested in studying at Lund University, that's also a good chance for you to be part of the other side of the mentor program as the mentees, as we say, of course, the new international students. And I would say that's a very strong side of Lund University, since it's a very warm welcome you get when you come here. So it's you don't get thrown into nothingness, but you get we catch you in a very nice net, I would say, of students.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. And I think there's a lot to explore. And there will be other podcasts which you, the listener, can join later on. But for us, we just want to say thank you again for joining the Lund University International Podcast. And we wish you a great day.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Lund University International Podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Lund University, you can go to our website, lunduniversity.lu.se. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can also chat with our current students on UniBuddy. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you a new episode very soon.